the changes it made to the book were not good. Hey platform, it's Rowan, and today I'm going to be doing another tier ranking video. We did one a couple of weeks ago that was all about like bookish pet peeves, so like people cracking their spine, stuff like that, and it was really fun. So we thought we'd do another one, and this one, as the title suggests, is all about book and movie adaptations. So I asked you guys on Instagram and Twitter, and also our Discord, which is a really fun kind of like community of readers who all chat to each other about what they're reading, and also our book club that we run monthly. So if you want to join that, I'll put the link in the description. But I basically asked for your examples of some of the best and worst of like the TV shows and movies you've seen that were based on books to include within this ranking. So thank you very much for everything you have contributed. So again, I'm going to put a little disclaimer here. I do not represent Penguin. These opinions are not the opinions of Penguin. They are just the opinions of me. I have the power to record videos for this channel, and therefore it is my thoughts you're going to get. However, if you would like to do your own thoughts around these adaptations, maybe make a video or post it on social, I'm gonna leave a link to this tier maker rank thing that I've created so you can do it yourself. Speaking of, here are the levels of the tiers that we are going to be working with today. So, top level, God tier, obviously. The stuff that's just absolute perfection. It feels like you are having the book itself just rammed into your brain. The second one is, oh, okay. It's like, oh, actually, this is pretty good. The next one, I'd watch again. So that's like middling tier. It's like, I'm not gonna necessarily go out of my way to watch this, but like, if it's on TV, yeah, I'd stop and watch, you know? I'd watch it with a friend. The fourth one down, disappointing. That was a missed opportunity. Kind of annoyed that, you know, this was maybe a book I really liked and this just did not do it justice. And then finally, we have our final tier, same as last time, a crime. Because sometimes things just hurt you within your very soul, and that is where those films are going. Without further ado, let's get into it. We're starting straight away, I can tell you, God tier. I know that everyone who suggested this video knew that I was going to put it in God tier. It is notorious for being just the absolute pinnacle of movies based on books. It's holes, just fantastic. It somehow manages to juggle 3 different storylines. By the way, I'm gonna try and do these without big spoilers, so don't worry if you haven't read these books or seen these films yet. I'm gonna be vague, but like if you know, you know. So yeah, it's got like 3 different storylines, and it somehow manages to fit it all into a movie that is like the perfect length. It's not like 8 hours long, and it's just great. The acting's great, the soundtrack's great, just chef's kiss. It has a couple of things that are different from the book, but like those things are kind of explained by like the difficulties of filming, stuff like that, and it doesn't really take away from the story. And if you look on YouTube, there is a song from the soundtrack that the actors who played the boys all sang and rapped on, and it's very fun. I like to listen to it when I go walking sometimes. Just fun fact from me there. So, God tier holes, we're starting off strong. And I've just looked down at the next one and realized we're about to go crashing back down this tier list, because we are now gonna talk about The Golden Compass, which is based on the Northern Lights book, the first book in the His Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman. Now this is like a notoriously bad adaptation. People really love to hate on this movie, a lot. But I'm not gonna say it's quite a crime. I'm gonna say it's disappointing, because I do think that there was some very good performances. You cannot tell me that Daniel Craig and Nicole Kidman in that movie were not perfection. I didn't mind Dakota Blue Richards, who plays Lyra. I thought she was pretty good. She did a good job. Like she was very much like a kid herself when she was taking on the role. I think it was just that the book itself has a lot more complexity that this movie just didn't really want to bring. It kind of wanted to be a generic like kids blockbuster, and so it was never really going to work for them to continue the series. My personal biggest bugbear is that it didn't do well enough to get a sequel, which meant we never got to meet one of my favorite characters of all time, Will Parry. So for that, it's a crime in my heart, but I'm going to put it on disappointing because there are worse movies we're going to put in the crime genre, like section. We're going to get that. So this next one, so this is interesting because there is something that is deeply just hurtful about when your favorite book gets adapted and it's bad. However, that's not necessarily the end of the road, because sometimes someone else can buy the rights and they can make another movie or another TV show about it instead, and that can be better, which is exactly what has happened in this, which is the His Dark Materials show, which has been airing over the last few years. It's just had its 2nd season and hopefully 3rd season is coming. This is going in, oh, okay, because way better than the Golden Compass movie. I was a bit worried because they do make some big changes. Will Parry, for example, appears very early on, and I really enjoyed the way he appeared in the original books. Was so cool to me, and I think it really was really exciting to a lot of young people when they were reading those books. And they didn't do it like that, but you know, I think it was a cool decision. We got to know him earlier, and both him and the character of Lyra, like the actors are amazing. And also like, if we couldn't have Daniel Craig and Nicole Kidman, having James McAvoy and Ruth Wilson in those roles instead, just as good. So the next one, weirdly, was on a lot of lists of, when I was kind of searching for ideas for movies and TV shows to include in this video, was on a lot of people's lists as like a really bad adaptation. I really liked it. It's The Great Gatsby with Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm putting this in, I'd watch again. I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack absolutely slaps, incredible. And I thought the acting was great. It kind of had the opulence and the glamour and all that kind of stuff of the 1920s with these really grounded performances. I really enjoyed it. So I'm putting it there. Before we go into the next one that I've just glanced upon, and oh God, already realizing that we're gonna have a full bingo at this point because it is going into a crime category. I just want to point out the fact that I'm aware I've been saying the word adaptation. I work for publishers. I've talked about the relationship between books, movies, TV shows before. Do I know whether it's meant to be adaptation or adaptation? No clue. Tried to Google it and Google was like, it doesn't really matter, but I'm sure it probably does. When I typed into Google, it auto kind of filled in to adaptation, so that's what I'm going with. But just in case I'm not in the know, let me know in the comments what I probably should have been saying through this entire video. But just to smooth over if I have been making a mistake, I'm gonna introduce you to the biggest mistake that's ever been made, the Cat in the Hat movie, live action. I don't know how accurate this is, but there are rumors on the internet that the estate of Dr. Seuss actually like stopped filmmakers being allowed to do live action adaptations of his books because of how awful that movie was. It was like, hey, what if we confused the fun of the Dr. Seuss book with just chaos? Chaos does not necessarily equal fun. That Venn diagram is not a circle. There's some of this. And you wanna be in the middle, and that movie was just too much chaos, not enough fun. Just a nightmare. I feel like if I wanted to really look into the face of like hell itself, it would be looking directly into the eyes of the Cat in the Hat from that movie. An absolute crime. I'm impressed that we've managed in the first 5, this was not planned by the way, to just get a full straight row. So I'm interested to see like what of these rows has the most, because I know that a lot of us readers can be picky about like movies and TV shows that are based on our favorite books. We want them to be like totally perfect. So I'm gonna try not to like be super judgmental about them, because I think that, you know, even though books are amazing, and I know that we all like to say like the book is always better, but sometimes having like someone else create a world that's been in your head in front of you and be able to hear the music and be able to see the faces of the characters can also be amazing. Such actually is kind of the case with this next one. This is Anne with an E, which is based on Anne of Green Gables. I'm gonna put it in, oh, okay. I really like this show. I know that this show has a lot of dedicated fans. It got cancelled by Netflix, and I feel like I always see Renew Anne with an E trending on Twitter. It's really good. It definitely goes outside of the scope of the books, but I think it always has that same spirit of the character. And it also goes into a lot more issues that are more relevant to like the modern day world. It has a more diverse cast in the original books. All that kind of stuff, but in a way that always like feels very respectful to the source material. So I'm gonna put it in oh okay. And if you haven't seen the show, it's very lovely. You definitely should. It's a nice series to have a little binge watch of. Okay, the next one. So I have a bit of a soft spot for this one, the Jim Carrey series of unfortunate events, because the aesthetic is so good. It's so cool. It's like gothic and Victorian and modern and just like really, really cool. However, they did try to fit like 3 whole movies into one film, and it didn't necessarily work. And also Jim Carrey's Count Olaf, like he is amazing, but it was quite overpowering during that movie and kind of a bit farcical. So I'm gonna have to put it in disappointing, unfortunately. I did prefer I didn't hate the movie, but I did prefer the TV show that I actually didn't put on this list, I've realized. And aesthetics alone cannot make a great movie, it turns out. I've realized also I chose a lot of these to be YA, but this one's not really YA, even though it does have like a young kind of protagonist who grows up during it. But it is an adaptation that I consider to be god tier, and that is Atonement. It's based on Atonement by Ian McEwan. It has Saoirse Ronan in the main role. It also has James McAvoy, Keira Knightley. It's like Vanessa Redgrave. Like it's amazing cast. The music in it is brilliant. Like the way in which they utilize like the typewriter, because the big part of the book and of the movie is the fact that the character of Bryony is a writer. It just fits so well, and it is as devastating as the book is. It really is just like fantastic. And some of the shots, there's like a shot of Dunkirk, which is just one continuous shot, which is stunning, like amazing. Yeah, so it's like if you want a movie based on a book to absolutely destroy your heart, this is what I'd go for. If you want that, like, it warms your heart, you're gonna do Holes. If you want breaks your heart, you're gonna do Atonement. You got both of them in god tier. The next one, Hunger Games. Again, similar to Great Gatsby, a lot of people seem to hate the movies. I really like them, but potentially that was very much buoyed by how good Jennifer Lawrence is in that role. I don't know how much I would like them if it was like a not as good actress within that role, because Katniss doesn't really say a lot, and she's quite grumpy a lot of the time, and a lot of the stuff is like going on in her head, and Jennifer Lawrence was just very good at being able to like express that as an actress, like on her face, without having to do like lots of talking around it. And I also think that they did a really good job of not ignoring the fact that this girl was like going through a lot of trauma. I feel like a lot of like, oh, so kick-ass, amazing, like action heroine films sort of ignore the like mental toll it would take, and those films like didn't. They really had her, like those last movies of Mockingjay, like basically having her having panic attacks and freaking out and being worried and scared. And I appreciated that. And they also still had a lot of like the really tough and difficult stuff. They didn't shy away from that from the books. I kind of feel like for me it's between I'd watch again and, oh, okay. Ooh, this is tough, this is tough. You know what? I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. If in doubt, I'm gonna go higher tier. So it's gonna be, oh, okay. As well, I've got to give it props for being like the first of those YA dystopia adaptations. That was very much the best. It did spawn some like other ones that we're not going to talk about right now. And I think maybe it's been slightly tainted by association for how like meh the other ones were. Next one, we're going outside of the like strict YA because this is more kids. And this is an absolute god tier, Matilda. It's not necessarily the most faithful to the book, but it's amazing. And it's iconic in its own right. And I know that we all just wanted to like be either Matilda's best friend or Miss Honey's best friend, depending on how old we are. Those pancakes looked incredible. I wish I could make pancakes that look that good. Every time I hear any song from the soundtrack, it cheers me the hell up. It's full of like completely iconic scenes, like that girl being swung around by her pigtails, or like the chalk on the whiteboard, or the chocolate cake, like everything about the movie, it just feels super iconic. So it's going in god tier. And I regret nothing about that decision. Absolutely fantastic. The next one, oh God, it's a crime. Everyone knows it. It's the Percy Jackson movie. I mean, I'm just glad that they're doing a show now and that the author is involved in the show and seems to think it's going well, because however much Logan Lerman is like very lovely, I'm sure, very talented, it was just so bland. It was so damn bland, and it changed so much from the books. It just wasn't it. And for a long time, like everyone was so excited, and there are so many books in that series. Like I know everyone was really hoping for like to get it to be a big franchise. I know the fans were hoping it would be some kind of MCU situation where they would have all the crossovers and you'd have like Magnus Chase and you have Percy Jackson and it would all be coming together. And then it just like, I'm so surprised it even got a second movie that I haven't seen, because I don't want to put myself through that. So yeah, it's joined The Cat in the Hat as a crime, unfortunately. The next one, She's the Man. A bit different to the other ones, because this is an adaptation of a Shakespearean play, Twelfth Night, but this is modernizing it, changing it a bit, and making it into like a teen movie, which I find really cool. I really love teen movies based on like classic literature. Clueless based on Emma, for example. It's always fun. And She's the Man is an, oh, okay. Like, I think that to make it God tier, I feel like I kind of wanted something a little bit more from it. I feel like nowadays they might push it a bit more, because Twelfth Night has like a lot of stuff to say around like gender. There's a lot of potential for exploring different sexualities, stuff like that. And I feel like nowadays, if they'd have made they might have pushed the envelope a bit more in terms of looking at like not just what was actually happening within the play, but like the connotations of what that might mean now, the way in which people are like disguising themselves as different genders and falling in love with people of different genders. Kind of, I feel like they could have maybe pushed it a bit more and it would have led it to God tier for me, but it's still very good. It's very funny. Amanda Bynes is fantastic in it, and I feel like it's just like a real classic of that 2000s like teen movie genre. Next one. I know a lot of people like this. I really like the book. So the film is Love, Simon, and the book is Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. And I really like the book, and I feel like this is a case of a film that the changes it made to the book were not good. It made some changes and they made the film a lot worse than the book was, in my opinion. So it's going to disappointing with me. I felt like the ending especially, again, not to give spoilers, but the ending of the book definitely feels like it makes more sense and just sort of makes Simon out to be a better person than he maybe is in the movie if you read between the lines. I'm not gonna say any more, but if you know, again, if you know, you know. And it's like very much a film people have talked about being like important, and it was like very mainstream, and Disney and like had LGBT characters, which is really unusual, but I don't necessarily think we can just like say it's amazing because it's the first thing to do something like that. It's so mainstream, especially because there's like a lot of other kind of teen based LGBT movies out there already that just like aren't as mainstream, but in my opinion are better. Okay, Little Women. This was the last movie that I watched in a cinema at the beginning of 2020, and I bawled my eyes out. I absolutely was just inconsolable because it was just so good. I just really loved it. I love the characters, and I love like the emotions behind them, even though they aren't like these like huge, like stopping the apocalypse, like I have magic, like really big dystopian emotions of some kind of YA movies might be. This still felt like an exploration of like young women's lives and just really small, like intimate emotional dramas between sisters. And I felt like Florence Pugh makes everything that she's in even better than it already is. And she was so good as Amy. I know that for the most part everyone hates Amy, and she made everyone actually like Amy. So I'm putting that in, oh, okay. That was pretty damn good. I know there's been a lot of people who have complained about like the historical accuracy of stuff like costumes, but like, I don't know anything about historical clothes, so I did not even notice. Did pass me the hell by. So that didn't factor into my decision at all. We have another crime, gang. It has to go in there. Eragon. Oh, that one hits me hard. Though that book was like the first book that my brother, who didn't really like reading, kind of got into, and held a real soft spot for me. I mean, it was just so cool. There were like dragons. It was like one of those really thick, like hardback books that you would get, and you felt like really cool reading them, like a big fantasy book when you were younger. And then the movie came out, and again, it was just so bland. It was so bland and changed so much. And then some like plot holes would appear, and it was just so unbelievably bland. And I know like that this is the ones, I feel like the ones that I put on the crime tier are just, you can't argue with them. They are all crimes. There is no way it can be argued with. Everyone agrees with this, and for good reason. Just a mess. And I feel like its time is gone now. There's not gonna be a remake of it. It's just, we just maybe have to forget that it ever existed. And I'm okay with that. Second to last. This is the adaptation of Noughts and Crosses from last year. I really like this. It was another one that they changed a lot from the original book. Like this is not at all what the original book was in terms of storyline. It like takes place in the same world, but they added a ton with world building. They still made it make sense together, and I think they tried to age it up for the like generation of people who had read the books when they were younger, like who are more my age. And I didn't hate that. I kind of enjoyed it. Like, as if I had to tell myself I was going into it not thinking I was going to meet like 14-year-old Callum and Seffi and have the exact same experiences that they had. But I still feel like there was the same connection between them, the same exploration of the world, and they added in different kind of secondary plot lines and all that kind of stuff, which I really enjoyed. And they're filming another season now, from what I hear. So that is going in the, oh, okay, category. I'm very into it. And finally, I feel like it's nice, it's fitting that we're ending with another high one. I'm actually really impressed. I know, again, like we said about the idea of book adaptations, like the books are so much better than the movies, etc., etc. We've done pretty well. I think more of them are on that upper tiers than they're on the lower tiers, which is quite nice to see, I think. This one, 100% God tier. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna say right now, controversial, but I enjoyed these movies more than the books. It's Lord of the Rings. Absolute God tier, incredible, wonderful things. We're not going to talk about the Hobbit adaptations. Just forget them. We're sticking with the originals, Lord of the Rings. Just how I feel really lucky to have been like a kid, like younger when these were coming out, because they were just so like amazing. I'd never seen anything like it in terms of how expansive it was, and it was just so fun and brilliant. And they cut all of the random songs that feature in the books. The dwarves just constantly singing in those books, and they just were just like, we're just not gonna just not have the poems in there. And I don't know, I feel like that really streamlined the movies in a great way. Although again, there is like apparently a Lord of the Rings TV series coming out, and I don't know whether it's gonna be, I don't think it's quite a remake of like this period of Lord of the Rings. I think it might be around some of Tolkien's other books, but I'll be very interested to see if any characters like reappear and how they cast them and what happens with that. So those were my rankings of these movies and TV shows, but I would love to hear in the comments about whether you agree, disagree, and if there are any that I didn't include on my list that you think should be ranking like God tier, that people should definitely watch, or a crime tier that people should avoid at all costs. And if you want to try this yourself, then as I said, I've made a link to the template that I used, that I created in the description, so you can try it yourself. Maybe even make a video in response to this one. I would love to see whether your kind of tier ranking differs to mine or not. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, then you can subscribe to us at Platform for more bookish videos. Woohoo! We're done!